Hello. So, I feel bummed because I don't know. I just hate depression. I hate when people are judgmental of themselves and hate themselves. I think it's like one of the saddest things ever. Um, but it's so real and a really real struggle. And I think so somebody out there on YouTube started talking about self-hatred, and they said that they talked about it for a while, not saying that self-hating was a good thing at all, but instead of self-hating, that we should just maybe fix the problem that we hate about ourselves. And that made me frustrated because that does not give us a real solution at all. um, Self-hatred and self-perfecting are the same thing. So I just wanted to talk about kind of what I feel like I've been learning lately about self-hating and self-perfecting and how to get out of it. And I think that basically, all right, I figured out something pretty crazy. So I'm a Christian, so I have a moral system, and you all have moral systems. If you struggle with self-hatred, you have a system, a moral system or a value system. So maybe you don't necessarily value being a good person as much as maybe you prefer to value success. Not that you don't care about people, you probably do also, but you might prioritize one over the other. Basically, how moral systems work is that we have a superiority complex and then an inferiority complex. We teeter between both of these. We'll feel incredibly inferior for not meeting those standards that we create for ourselves, and we'll feel incredibly high, glorious, and top of the world and better than everybody else when we're killing it at our personal standards. That's a really strong reality with like everybody in every possible moral or value system. The problem with this is that it gives zero room for self-compassion or for grace. I was thinking about this concept when I was in church, so I kind of have to express it with my faith involved, but I think you can pretty much apply this to anything, and I think it's just really pertinent to bring it up and just to get this video out there for myself, because I just can see so much more life and grace and possibility in and hope in life, because I think I can see it this way. And yeah, I don't like to push my values on people, so I think that's why I'm slowing down here and getting a little bit uncertain and insecure about saying what I want to say, but I think I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it like you're my best friend. Okay, so basically, yeah, we teeter between inferiority and superiority. We'll think like, oh, like because I don't read my Bible every day, or because I didn't act loving towards that person, then I do not deserve to receive the love of Jesus or the love of God. I don't deserve to receive compassion or kindness to myself. I deserve only to work even harder, to even perfect myself more and fix the problem altogether so it doesn't exist. That whole monologue right there, that whole whatever I just said, was starting with self-hatred and then continuing it by self-perfecting. And then as I try to be perfect, which is impossible for every person to ever do, I then fail and then begin to hate myself again. It's an endless cycle of hating yourself. And it is a huge cause of depression for people who hold high morals for themselves, like INFPs or INFJs. I know those especially. I'm not sure about every other type because I haven't totally in-depth studied those as much, or came across them and researched them on YouTube or whatever, but it's this like endless loop of hating yourself. And then occasionally you'll hop over to the superiority side once you finally like are able to kind of get your ish together, like one day for some reason you just have everything together, you do everything right, the whole time you're hating yourself doing it, but you just finally get there, and then you're on the exterior, you've done every physical thing to make yourself perfect before everybody else, and you're just high on the clouds, you're just glorious. And the goal every single day with somebody in their value system is trying to get that to that place of glory, that place of perfection, almost, of fulfilling the standard, whatever it looks like. And that literally could be like, I don't know, literally having everything perfectly placed and done exactly on time and exactly in the best way possible. Or it could be like accomplishing this one thing. It can look different for different people, but it is an endless, unhealthy cycle. Because the reality is, like when I always think about looking at myself as if I was an infant or a child, I would never put such expectation on me as a kid. Like, I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to walk, I'm trying to figure out what life is. I'm going to make millions and millions of mistakes, and those mistakes wouldn't ever change the love I would have for a child, right? They're learning. It doesn't matter whether they're good at it or not. It doesn't matter whether they are succeeding or not. It just matters that they, oh no, has this been shaking the whole time? Okay, we're good. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they're, I don't know, they did something. It doesn't matter if they did something wrong. It doesn't matter if they were imperfect or they failed at something. You still love that child because you love who they are. You love them. They're human. Humans are made to love other humans. And so I think this is like where INFPs and INFJs get into trouble, is because we project like really big, glorious ideals, I think, into the future in these hopes of who we need to be. And we get really disappointed when we don't fulfill them or don't reach that goal or that standard. And I mean, I think honestly, especially INFPs, we do that on every level. That is not even just moral standards. That's like, I want, like to me and my values at least, I value like being a follower of Christ more than I value relationships per se, or like more than I value finding like a man in life or something. And so if I don't know, even on the basis of like with relationships with guys, I will literally do that same thing and put that same pressure on myself. Like, I should have been better. I should have done better. I wasn't good enough. I like failed in this way and that way. And I play all those past horrors and occurrences, those horrors of moments of horror, of shame, just moments of shame on loop in my mind, just beating myself up and saying I should have been better in this way or that way. And that's not constructive at all. We just put these big, heavy burdens of, we have this like this glorious like I don't know, pedestal image of ourselves that we're trying to get to and are trying to achieve and we're trying to become like every single day. And unless we finally get there, then we're just a piece of shit. And like, that's not mentally healthy. And I think you know that too. And if you're watching this video, you probably clicked on it because you know that you're probably hating yourself. So how do we get out of it, right? Like, what do we do? And I think the two main things I've realized is getting rid of glory, the idea that we need to make ourselves glorious. We need to humble ourselves into thinking that we just realizing we don't need glory to be loved, that we don't need to fulfill the standards to be loved. This is where my faith comes in this, but something I was realizing about the character of Jesus, and I think, I'm trying to think creatively as how this could relate if you don't follow Jesus, but I think I bet you're smart enough to figure out how you could create your own version of this. Although I do recommend following Jesus because it's probably the most fulfilling thing that you'll ever experience, and it frees you from self-hatred of so many kinds and really just he endlessly pursues you and loves you despite all of your mistakes, which is amazing. But